G'day folks, it's the Royal Colonial Boy, Lord Reags, otherwise known as Reagan John Murphy, the award-winning Sydney journalist. That's my website, the Royal Colonial Boy. I hope you can see that. Just jot that down. You can see the transcript of the poem I'm about to read to you called The Royal Colonial Boy. It's a story of my life in a poem, and it may not be of any interest to you. Look, I'm cool with that. This is for my grandson Hunter, and my daughter Jessica, and my son Daniel. And so it goes for about 50 verses. So if you are interested, this is the first ever recording of it as a poem. It's going to take about 22 minutes. So you might want to grab a cup of tea like me, or a coffee, and come back and watch it when you've pressed unpause. All right, now. It's based on the story of the Wild Colonial Boy, except we've ripped out all the text. I don't like honouring murderous mass killers of policemen in the 1860s. I don't think that sort of thing should be glorified. I have a squeaky clean record. I'm a clean skin. I've never attacked police or done anything wrong. I have no record to speak of at all. So I had a bit of royalty in my bloodlines, I've discovered, so I'm just putting this little story in a poem, and it's called The Royal Colonial Boy. May not be much of a deal for you, but it is to me and my family. So it's sort of like a private insight into my life, encapsulated in a poem that goes for 22 minutes. And as I say, go to theroyalcolonialboy.com to follow the text. And if you can play a musical instrument and you want to be considered for putting some backing to this, have a look at my other version of this musically in a cappella jazz version on YouTube. It's you'll find it easily. And if you play a cello, if you play Hammond organ, Moog synthesizer, triangle, drums, acoustic guitar obviously would work well, as would a banjo, as would a ukulele. If you want to put a simple backing to that, let me know, because I'd like to make a proper recording and donate 75% of proceeds. If we make, $27.50, I'd like to give, $23 of that or whatever to the Royal Flying Doctor Service, and whatever's left we just we shout around the drinks down the pub. So if you want to contact me, theroyalcolonialboy.com, if you want to collaborate in any way. And I know John Williamson, Mr. True Blue, you're not interested. You've made that clear, so that's fine. You don't collaborate with anyone. I do appreciate that, but you've missed a golden opportunity. Anyway, here is the spoken poem version of The Royal Colonial Boy by the Royal Colonial Boy, Lord Reags, otherwise known as Reagan John Murphy, and it's recorded on the 29th of April 2015 at Elvaston Studios in the glorious Upper Thunder Valley. There was a Royal Colonial Boy. Lord Reagan was his name, 7th great-grandson of King Charles and Countess Castlemaine. He was a young policeman's son, Mum Barbara's pride and joy. Their age gap very nearly killed their Royal Colonial Boy. Barb called on Kev as her husband died, the autumn of '59. Harry Jenkins' wife consoled, his funeral divine. Melanoma cancer took hold, no more Bondi sunshine. Conceived 2 months later on was the Royal Colonial Boy. His father was just 21, his mother 36. They separated 7 years until at last divorced. Barbara struggled, Kev left the force. Drill French oil, Udna data. Underweight, all kids were fatter than the Royal Colonial Boy. Elizabeth Taylor, that was she. Rock Hudson, that was he. Paul Kelly doubled for Lord Reags. Kev feared adultery. Harry's brother Bill Jenkins, ace Sydney crime reporter. Kevin scared off sex for 6 years for his Royal Colonial Boy. Kev married Barb to give him a name. Reagan John Murphy was he. War Memorial Hospital, East Sydney's Waverley. Cronulla his baptismal home in beautiful Sutherland Shire. Talk about a baptism of fire, the Royal Colonial Boy. Named after Barbara Villiers Palmer, England's uncrowned queen, Lord Reig's mum needed a farmer. They slept in squats unseen. Though she was quite the snake charmer, swam up at Narrabeen. Seduction ensured, nobody harmed her, Royal Colonial Boy. Barb's dad was Lord Stanhope Sullivan, born in the USA. His clan left California, an earthquake ended their stay. They moved to upmarket Vaucluse. Stan met a Maitland girl. Amy Claire White was grandmother to the Royal Colonial Boy. The First World War killed the Sullivans. One Captain Amory. The second was Thomas Barry. John Sidney returned safely. So did Lord Stanhope Augustus. Charles Lamont's death made three. Three uncles, two grandfathers of the Royal Colonial Boy. Thank you, Sydney Club City Tats, for raising all those funds. Enough to build a new brick house for Charles Lamont's widow. Maud and her 8 kids thought it grouse. Anzac Rifle Range helped. Ryde Council is also thanked by the Royal Colonial Boy. 12 generations down the line from Mary Queen of Scots, 33 to Alfred the Great, no crown jewels, gold-filled pots. Lord Reig's long-forgotten estate, Lord Stanhope's Elvaston. Help me save it, Sir Richard pleads, the Royal Colonial Boy. The Seaforth Highlander Charles Lamont, Sydney father of 8. Queen Victoria's palace guard taught Anzacs to shoot straight. Oldest Lone Pine Major died hard, yelled, "Follow me, boys, charge!" His 8th child was grandmother to the Royal Colonial Boy. When Mary Ann McGravy Brunker met William White of Scone, remarriage a blunder? She couldn't live alone. Newcastle Race Club funder, horse racing pioneers, were second great-grandparents to the Royal Colonial Boy. Australia's 10th Governor-General led troops at Waterloo. That was France, not Sydney, named a town Grafton too. After the King's first Duke, who loved pies with steak and kidney, 4th great-nephew to Charles Fitzroy, the Royal Colonial Boy. Thrown from a carriage against a tree, Lady Mary Lennox, the Duke of Richmond's daughter, killed at Parramatta. Australians everywhere mourned her, Governor Fitzroy's wife. She was the 4th grand-auntie to the Royal Colonial Boy. Ned Chalker's 18-year-old daughter was Mary Ann Chalker, bore a son to the governor, widower 3 years. His wife killed at Parramatta, morale never flatter. Ned's gift to Governor Fitzroy, Sir Charles Augustus Fitzroy. Prince Harry, Lord Reig's 4th great cousin, the Ranger Prince of Wales, Royal Colonial pub crawl, rocks to Manly ferry sails. The Royal Colonial Ball, Captain Wales never fails. True blue bloods down under support the Royal Colonial Boy. Desperate Barb bashed Reegs when drunk, not knowing what she'd lose, told Reegs to pack his trunk. Cops charged Barb with abuse. Supreme Court custody slam dunk. State ward Lord Fauntleroy. Foster homes, good food, friends, warm bunks for the Royal Colonial Boy. Little Lord Reegs trembling in court, "Don't send me back to Mum." Angry, hysterical Barb fought, "You give me back my boy." Alone, found in contempt, distraught. "His name's not Fauntleroy." Ordered never again to see her Royal Colonial Boy. Lord Reegs chose a lady with red hair. Nana Nolene Lamont. Lots of fun and love in her care. Finally he'd not want. Nana, George took him everywhere. Bowling, scouts, friends rejoice. Who did well at school and found joy? The Royal Colonial boy. Runner-up Ducks conquered West Public. Sold papers afternoons. Bought Moog plays the Beatles at 9. Loved 2 Ronnies and the Goons. Lord Reags missed Barb, but he was fine. Watched Neil walk on the moon. Who delivered your morning milk? The Royal Colonial boy. At Richmond High, this larrikin youth chose writing over beer. His typewriter knew no danger, no subject did he fear. Supporting himself by year 12, 6 weekend jobs you hear, lived alone in a caravan, the Royal Colonial boy. Wanted to be the next David Frost, wrote greyhound racing news, high school magazine editor, Monty Python amused. Discovered he's related to Grafton's first Duke Fitzroy, Barbara Villiers, King Charles II, the Royal Colonial boy. Richmond neighbours were greyhound trainers, Jim and Christine Coleman. Jim was a champion boxer, Christine a stunning blonde. Walked their champions after school, odious he some boy. Anguilla lad and General Jeff was the Royal Colonial boy. Lord Reed's Uncle George given free dogs. Old Quickstitch just might thrive. He smashed the Lithgow track record. Won Harold Park aged 5. He beat Zoontop Macarena. He goes like the clapper. Owner old George thanked his strapper, the Royal Colonial boy. When Lord Reagan was 18 years old, lived at Dad's Manly home. Kev's second wife was Ros Pearson. 2 kids, Todd and Nicole. Lord Reegs preferred his Richmond Zoo. Nana, George and Dog Poo. George gave 55 greyhounds to the Royal Colonial boy. Teenage 10-pin bowling kangaroo represented his state. Lord Reagan played good hockey too. Richmond beat Windsor great. Annihilated them 9-2. Taree humbled Richmond. Their winger simply too good for the Royal Colonial boy. Played church cricket with St. Luke's Concord. Premiers unconquered. Under-14s Fieldsman Award at the crease he was floored. Bowler Gary Hooker was fast. Chris Stephandelis caught. This primary school best mate outscored the Royal Colonial boy. They learned to drive in the Batmobile, belonging to Johnny D. The Black Prince of Hobartville taught them when he was free. In a 64 Cadillac, lucky lads in the back. Tomboy Cheryl always enjoyed her Royal Colonial boy. His Richmond High School nonconformists, nonchalant performance, from track and field to nutting sheep, Whitlam's sacking too steep. Their love of Beatles rock and roll, teachers were fun and droll. He respected Mr. Killjoy, the Royal Colonial boy. Father's Day morning, 20 his age, Euroa Times front page. Sydney bound, he was out of luck, a victim of road rage. His car flipped to avoid a truck, rolled 6 times, centre stage. The roadside priest gave last rites to the Royal Colonial boy. He interviewed 20 heads of state, Nelson Mandela, Tung Chee Hwa, Whitlam, Keating, Howard and Hawke, Clinton, Bush, Greiner and Carr. Ran for council, parliament too, Aussie Democrats ploy. Keeping the bastards honest was the Royal Colonial boy. He tracked down his mum in Melbourne town when he was 24. Lady Barb was tiny and frail, search for the Holy Grail. All's forgiven, Mum, let's not part. Let's make a brand new start. Barb declined with gratitude to her Royal Colonial boy. In winter 1986, he thought he'd found the one. He met a Uruguayan girl, had a daughter and a son. An award-winning journalist, wife, kids his pride and joy, built a 6-bedroom Hurstville home, the Royal Colonial Boy. Married Meta in Drummoyne St Mark's, Reeg's boys' night with the blokes. His friend Wallaby Steve James folks, Auntie Joan and Uncle John, reception at their 5-dock home. Reeg's adopted them both. The love of his life was now his wife, the Royal Colonial Boy. Lord Reeg's best man was Terry Wenban, famous 10-pin bowler, a 300-game high roller. They both bowled at Rockdale. But now it was time to regale Terry's amusing words. He'll be no longer chasing birds with the Royal Colonial Boy. Reeg's won 7 awards reporting sport, politics and crime. Jealous colleagues spiked all the time, hoped he'd get despondent. 400 scoops soon squashed their views. Foreign correspondent, Australia's daily shipping news, the Royal Colonial Boy. Confirmed a Roman Catholic 28 by Cardinal Clancy. St Mary's Cathedral, Sydney. Faith no flight of fancy. Grandpa Jack was a communist. Kevin an atheist. Raised agnostic, now a Christian, the Royal Colonial Boy. He saw Mum again in 94, showed pics of wife and kids. Barbara was over the moon. Congratulations, son. You have a lovely family. I'm thrilled but happy here. I'm fine. Enjoy your life, she told her Royal Colonial Boy. When grandmother Nana Nolan died, Lord Reeg's de facto mum. Their love spanned more than 30 years, 2 decades breeding hounds. Her second husband, Uncle George, treated Reeg's just like his own son. Called him Little Lord Fauntleroy, the Royal Colonial Boy. National magazine editor, trade press and overseas, made group production editor, subbing 6 magazines, top motoring publications, Hot Fours and Street Commodores, became chief sub at ACP, the Royal Colonial Boy. He loved covering the Olympics, volunteer reporter, watched boxing, weightlifting, fencing, Greco-Roman wrestling, met Ali, Bugner, Jeff Fennick, interviews, NBC, name engraved at Olympic Park, the Royal Colonial Boy. When lovely Meta filed for divorce, they'd had 20 good years. Lord Reeg's was taken by surprise, no fault on either side. She bought a flat across the street. Kids chose to live with Mum. Her team of lawyers did destroy the Royal Colonial Boy. He worked in media 40 years, journo chief sub PR. Death threats from crime gangs triggered fears. Interviewed John Newman. Murdered Aussie MP sparked tears. Rival killer knew him. Now's the time to change life's gears for the Royal Colonial Boy. A tiny campaign donation gave foes their smoking gun. He's rising above his station. Journalists write, not run. Premier Carr, PM Abbott, it's discrimination. Unfairly sacked, but he's not done, the Royal Colonial Boy. Expensive private education from preschool to year 12. Jess and Dan at Beverly Hills, St Ursula's, Kingsgrove. Plans for Cogra Marist shelled when Daniel was expelled. Grand Theft Auto was to blame, said the Royal Colonial Boy. Barb passed on in 2004. No one told Reeg she died. Found out 10 years later, a tsunami, he cried. She deserves something much greater. Prejudice all her life. A long-lost royal, let's fate her, said her Royal Colonial Boy. He played the dad of Johnny O'Keefe in Rockdale Town Hall's Shout. Daughter Jess was in the cast too, both enjoyed their nights out. The show received 3 rave reviews, hamming it up with joy. Singing, joking, the old soft shoe was the Royal Colonial Boy. Entertainment, it was in his blood, thanks to George and Nolene. Oyster farmers covered in mud, ballroom dancers went clean. Support club acts for Bobby Lim, Sandy Scott and Marlene. George stuttered but could dance and sing for the Royal Colonial Boy. Battling depression later in life, 10 years without a wife, car accident, bad prognosis, hemochromatosis, fatty liver chock full of iron, back pain in winter time, optimistic despite it all, the Royal Colonial Boy. Living in Upper Thunder Valley, world's best value tipster. Saturday race tips on Twitter, Lord Colonial Boy. Join him on Fantasy Flutters, Royal Randwick and Rose Hill. Australia's horse capital is now home to the Royal Colonial Boy. Grandson Hunter was born at St George. Jessica Clare wed Joe. They got married Valentine's Day. Banjo Patterson's home. A happy day, hip hip hooray, Master Hunter's page boy. Joe Williamson, son-in-law to the Royal Colonial Boy. In 214, Lord Reagan found out his mum was royalty. He never got to meet her folks, the Whites and Sullivans. Stanhope Augustus Sullivan, descendant of King Charles, this explains his purple blood to the Royal Colonial Boy. He hadn't seen his adopted mum for 48 long years. Adrian, his New Zealand chum, now 68 in tears. Lived with him at North Strathfield. She bought him his first toy. They talked for days, then she re-met her Royal Colonial Boy. So many women, so little time, Rig's platonic harem. Ran dance parties with a live band, encouraged beginners. His friendship social club was grand, masquerade balls, dinners. Single dance brochure got him banned, the Royal Colonial Boy. An ex-girlfriend, psychotic ex-spy, threatened to kill Riggs. Why? Jealous he'd make Riggs disappear. Bugged his phone, think Cape Fear. Had Riggs followed, his accounts hacked. Mossad's drunk, pilot sacked. Intelligent police all backed the Royal Colonial Boy. Riggs lost some battles but won the war. Of this we can be sure. From Hard Knocks University, he embraced adversity. His values were factored non verba, with resilient fervour, to survive this life, sink or swim, like the Royal Colonial Boy. Lord Riggs took pride learning late in life, blood's royal, not water. Most couldn't care except his ex-wife, another his daughter. Spent years researching County Fife. Those false friends were annoyed. Family tree, legacy from the Royal Colonial Boy. What does the future hold for us all? Riggs' Dream Team TV show. Think Graham, Kennedy and Bert, Sterlo, Carrie, Skull, Kell, Georgie, Kitty, Francesca, Mel, Luke, 2NM, Steve C, Add Racing, Big Man, Sandra, Rove, the Royal Colonial Boy show. And there you have it. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for watching, listening, hopefully enjoying the first ever reading in poem style of the Royal Colonial Boy, this 29th day of April 2015, recorded by the author Regan John Murphy, award-winning Sydney journalist, also known as Lord Riggs, aka the Royal Colonial Boy. This was dedicated to Hunter, my grandson, and also Jessica Clare, my daughter, and the lovely Daniel Regan Michael, my son. And, of course, Barbara Hope Sullivan, my late mother. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. And if you want the transcript, it's theroyalcolonialboy.com.